Kunjan Thakkar, a small intro about me, where I really want to share that how my journey really started in resin. Because I would say resin chose me as a career. At times it happens that we choose a career or a career chooses us. Well, in my case, it happened what like resin chose me as a career. Why? Because small journey and a small intro about me. Myself, Kunjan Thakkar. I am an interior designer past 9 years, and resin was something that I was really crazy for. But yes, I was like, okay, I was just scrolling on Instagram every now and then about resin. So past 2.5 years back, I was scrolling on Instagram and I came across a random post, which was about learning resin art in a giveaway. Okay, so I randomly entered it without having no clue about it. And I won that giveaway. Yes, I won that giveaway. And slowly I really just a very basic I learned in that class. And slowly I really got my interest in resin, and the interest really made me feel crazy for resin, because I every now and then tried resin. I really experimented on resin and have made multiple number of crafts and the art from it. And also I've taught thousands and thousands of students online and offline for this resin art. Okay, so I have two multiple things going all together. So even you never know, if you have just you have just randomly entered for this class, having just the crazy inspiring pictures just made you join this class. Again, this is a perfect place, because you never know, you would be the next Kunjan sitting here and teaching resin art. You really have no clue what resin has for you. Also, the ones who have joined here who have some knowledge about resin, so this class is again going to be an informative class, because I'll be giving you some pro tips where you can really polish up your knowledge and gain some more of the important tips and tricks from mine, because I'll be sharing my experience, where did I go wrong, all my mistakes. And also the ones who have joined here to just take this as a business, or as to just start or launch your own page. Again, this is a perfect place, because you need to stay tuned till the end, because we have some amazing surprise for each one of you here, also from Riaz and also from my end as well. And this class is not going to be a recorded one, so there's no recordings available, so you have to stay tuned again till the end. This class has two parts. So we have the first few minutes, which is the theoretical part, and then is our practical part, so that it is a chemical. Resin is a chemical. I don't know what's happening, guys. Who has started to share the screen? I'm so sorry. Hey, who is this? Don't know why. Who's just a second.
Just a second, I have to remove the person.
I think so. You made me the host, and the things
It's
were
Sonali, right?
Okay, it's perfect, right? Okay.
Yeah, it's done.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so Usha says, can you use ma'am Hindi language? Usha, I will try to keep this class. Guys, just please mute yourself, so that if there's any kind of background voices, nobody gets disturbed from it. Okay. So Usha, मैं ये क्लास बहुत ही बेसिक इंग्लिश में ट्राई करूंगी लेने के लिए, और अगर फिर भी आपको कोई भी कंफ्यूजन या डाउट है वो सिंपल इंग्लिश में भी, तो आप मुझे एंड में पूछ सकते हो. In the end, we have the detailed Q&As, so that if you have any doubts regarding this class, I will be there to solve. उषा, अगर आपको कोई भी डाउट है, कंफ्यूजन है, आप मुझे आखिर में पूछ सकते हो. सो आई विल हेल्प कि आपको मैं सारे के सारे में जो भी कंफ्यूजन हो मैं आपको क्लियर कर पाऊँ. ओके. So also, if in case in between, if you are facing any issues, you can just raise a hand or type in the chat box, so that we'll try to really help you all, so that all your queries get solved. Okay. If in case during the practical, if I miss any of the question, you can again type later in the end, so that I really help you to get it solved. Okay. Okay. So now, well, this was about the class which I was explaining. We have it in the two format. the practical and the theoretical part. So theory comes first because this is a chemical and you really need to understand the chemical, how does it really work. And next comes the practical. Okay, so that we'll be doing the practical pouring session of the resin as well. So now who all are excited to just begin up with this class? I really want to see the excitement. Just let me know in the chat box with yes or a thumbs up. Okay, perfect. Okay, I was just checking that you all are awake or still sleepy, because it is Monday noon. I can really understand your feelings. Okay. Yes. We're good enough to go. Okay, so I've got yes. Okay, so I think so. Vaishnavi has raised her hand. Vaishnavi, you can just type in the chat box so that whatever is the query, we can try to help you. Okay, perfect. We're good enough to go. Okay, so we are talking a lot about resin. Can anybody really tell me what is resin? We are talking a lot about resin. Can anybody tell me what is resin? It is a chemical, right? Yes. So, but anybody, any rough guesses what resin is? Okay, apart from chemical, can anybody tell me what it is? Okay, it is a chemical, plastic. Okay, chemical, plastic, form of paint, kind form of okay, which we can make number of things. Yes, has two part. Yes, Sonali. Okay. Yes, Anna. I think so. You are a good uh, person who has a lot of knowledge about resin. What I would assume. Okay. Yes. So basically, resin is a chemical. We know that. So resin, you get it from the nature, but you can't really use that resin because it is not in the proper processed form. The resin which we need to use really needs to be in a proper processed form so that you get the end result as the desired one. Okay, here the end result really matters a lot as compared to the making process, because you have seen the shine, the gloss, and just the wow thing which resin really gives the end result, the perfect shine, the perfect gloss, the perfect solid product that you're really wanting to have. So it all really matters on what kind of resin are you using, what uh, qualities does your resin have. Okay, so resin, the chemical term for resin is known as epoxy. So you can't use a resin which is from the nature, so you want a proper processed resin. So this is why there are multiple brands in the market who really sell the resin, and they are in a proper processed form. Okay, there are even multiple brands who really don't make good brands, good resin. So you yourself have to really understand where does what are the qualities that you find in your resin bottle. So well, I've even seen the resins just having mentioned, the resin and the hardware. Well, if I just show you a resin bottle here, so if you can just see here, there are so many details mentioned here on these bottles. So imagine if you are choosing a resin which has no details mentioned on it. So well, that would be a bad thing, because we definitely want some instructions mentioned on that bottle, so that if in case that you're going wrong anywhere, there is the instructions which really guide you. It is a practical experiment, so you have to really go through all the pros and cons, all the instructions before trying to pour resin. Okay, please keep all these points in mind. Okay, so now again I'll get the question that what are the good brands name? Can you really suggest and recommend us some good brands resin? So definitely yes, I will be suggesting you all with the good brand resin. Okay, the brand's name on the bit class application. Okay, so you just need to download the bit class application. Just download that, and under today's date, which is the 25th April, under my classes you find today's date, and I will be sending you all the list. Okay, of all the good brand resin, of all the materials, of all the colors and everything that I will be using today in today's class, so that you have a proper knowledge, you have the proper idea about the good brand resin if you are really trying to invest in it. Okay, so as I said, you will be using the resin which is for the uh, art and craft purpose and nothing else. Okay, you get multiple kinds of resin. So again, you get the resin for the flooring, You get the resin. Like, I'm an interior designer, so I also use the the resin to just fill up the grouting, which we call it grouting. So we use an epoxy to fill up the grouting, the gaps in between the tile with the colorful effect. You also get the resin for the industrial purpose. You also get the resin for the craft purpose. You also get the UV resin, which the jewelry artists really use it these days to instantly and quickly use those pendants and the earrings. You also get the resin which is for, okay, I think so somebody is not on mute, please just mute it. So again, you get the resin for the floor. Okay, I covered that. So you get the fast curing resin. So there are multiple kinds of resin that you get in the market, but you need to understand what is the resin type. Okay, so basically the basic thing you have to keep in mind is for the art and craft that you will be using and no other thing. Okay, so the resin always comes with the hardener. You never get the resin bottle alone. You always get the resin and the hardener together. We just can't go to a shop and say, "Bhaiya, mujhe sirf resin dena hai, bhaiya, mujhe sirf hardener dena hai." No, 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 no. That is not possible. You always get it together in a set. Okay, a set of two bottles together. The resin and the hardener. The resin is known as part A and part B known as the hardener. And all the other details will be mentioned on the bottle. But there are some points which you have to keep in mind before doing the resin art. So now, who all can perform resin art? Who all can perform resin art? See, the price and all, it varies from company, from every brand. So I will give you the list. Okay, it is on you that which brand falls under your budget. Okay, so you can, again, the list, I will repeat, the list will be sent to you on the BitClass application. Just download that application. Okay, so now who all can really perform resin art? Because you really need to fit under that category to perform this resin art. This is something which I want that each one of you should take this point seriously. Even I myself, or even anybody, any of my students performing resin art, they really take these instructions very, very seriously. Anytime that they're doing resin art, even me, if I'm doing anytime, I will make sure that I take all these instructions very, very seriously. Okay. So now the points are, the kids above 10 to 12 age can perform this resin art. If you are below that, please, I would recommend you not to do this resin art without your parents advice. Also, the pregnant ladies, the breastfeeding moms, the asthmatic people, and the skin conscious people having any kind of allergies. If you are regularly working on this resin art, please take your doctor's advice before doing this resin art. If you're just doing for just I would say only for some time, that is okay, that is really okay. But if you're constantly into this, please take your doctor's concern. Okay, because it is a chemical and it will have the fumes coming from it. So I don't want you guys to really inhale those fumes. But if in case you're doing only for temporary purpose, only for very less time, then that is completely okay. You can just wear the normal N95 mask or the huge respirators of the 3M brand. Okay, so even that will work well. Also, make sure that if you're sitting in the same room, you have to avoid the dust is a huge enemy for resin. So make sure that you keep your room dust free, so that you get the end result, a proper gloss. Now, why dust is a huge enemy, I'll give you answer for that as well. The resin is something which won't dry instantly. Okay, unlike UV resin, it dries instantly. But if you are going on a normal resin, it won't dry instantly. It requires minimum 24 hours time to dry. Okay, so in that scenario, just imagine if you have dust particles flowing in your the whole room or the whole space, the shine will be spoiled. Because the dust, you never know, even though the room looks like neat and tidy, it has dust particles, it will go and stuck on it. Even if you keep your fans closed, the dust will get accumulated on your artwork, leading to all the spoilage of the shine. Because the shine is really something that you're really crazy for. You have seen the videos and the end result where the shine is just mind-blowing. So we want the same on our artworks as well. So this is why the thing that you really need to avoid is the dust. Okay, the next is, if you have any kind of furry pets or the babies in your home, so make sure that they are in a separate space and not in the same room. Also, why furry pets? Because the pets have their hair like thing, which is again flowing in the room, which has the possibility to get stuck on your resin artwork. So that we keep it much more, our artworks much more safer. Also make sure that you're sitting in a proper ventilated space where there is a proper ventilation. Once your artwork is done, just simply close that room so that the dust is again avoided. Okay, so make sure that you're sitting on a floor or a table. It is covered with the help of a plastic or a newspaper so that you don't spoil it. Also make sure that you wear the mask and the gloves. Any use and throw mask, or the use and throw gloves, the plastic gloves, or even the nitrile free gloves you can use. Okay, please keep these all points in mind even for today's class. Please guys, stop sharing any kind of link on the chat box. Okay, so for today's class I won't be able to wear the mask. If I wear a mask and if I speak it, you guys won't be able to understand. This is why I'll be wearing the gloves. But if there's anybody who's doing along with me, please wear a mask and glove. Okay. So are you all able to understand the language and the pitch? And I would say, like, is it all perfect? Am I going in too speed or too slow? Whatever. If there's anything, if you want me to change, please let me know so that I can really change and you can all really understand. Okay, great. So it's just that I'm really glad to know that you all are able to understand all the things. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. So next, yes, thank you so much. So now next comes the things which I was saying, what are some important things to be kept in mind before choosing a good brand resin. This is really something important because see, generally if the brand is not good, they won't really come and say out to you that please no, don't go for our brands. Why am I saying all this? Because it is because I've spoiled a lot of my artworks where the if you are going for a bad brand resin, what happens is the artwork which you have completed will have a shine for a day or two, but once after a few days it really gets dull, it has no shine, or even it has a possibility that it would really get yellowish in color, or if it is not getting yellow, if you keep in contact with the sun, it will really turn yellowish in color. So you never know, like, where did you go wrong, what were the steps. No doubt, undoubtedly you really took all the steps properly, but where did you go wrong? So it is just the bad brand resin which has made all these mistakes. So please, the good brand resin really matters a lot here. Or even it has the possibility that your resin won't really dry, it will be sticky all the time, or even after drying it will be always bendable, or even you have the possibility that your molds, even if you are using a good brand molds, the molds will be a complete waste because the resin is sticky all the time, which means that you won't be able to really unmold it. So what are these molds? So this is a silicon mold, okay, that I have. So let's say if I'm using a bad brand resin, the resin won't really get rid of from it. So the way this gets demolded, so if you're using a bad brand resin, you won't be able to really demold it. It will be there inside, it's sticky all the time. So imagine if you're not really getting the resin out of it, the mold is really a waste thing. For if I really demold it, so I can easily demold it. But if the resin is sticky, I have to just throw the resin and even the molds along with this, leading to again big loss for you. So this is why the resin plays an important role here. Okay, so some important points to be kept in mind before choosing a good brand resin. So the resin says you need to have the auto bubble release. You will have bubbles no matter less or more, but there will be bubbles. Okay, there will be bubbles. Please keep it in mind. I have even seen the brand saying there is no bubble. Well, how is it really possible? As the basic chemistry thing that we learned, you all know that whenever there is a chemical reaction, you will have some fumes or the bubbles coming out of it, as a basic chemistry thing that we learned. So imagine if there are brands, this is the chemical, and when the resin and the hardener, the two chemicals, when they're mixed together, definitely you will have an exothermic reaction. You will have some fumes coming off. You will have some bubbles coming off, but the bubbles proportion will vary from every brand. You'll have some more, some will have less, some will even have the auto bubble releasing thing, so that you don't really have to work hard on popping up the bubbles. Okay, so then some brands, they say that crystal clear shine. Yes, the shine really matters a lot here. If you keep a glass surface and a resin surface just next to each other, the ones who have no knowledge about what resin is, they'll say that this is a glass, this is not really resin. But the ones who really know, what resin is, you will have really have a proper idea about the shine, the gloss. So this is what we want on all our artworks, the proper shine, the proper gloss. Also we want our artworks to be scratch resistant, stain resistant, and this is what really matters a lot. And even we want our artworks to be completely non-breakable. So even if I'm making something, if I just randomly throw it, nothing is going to break. So after your resin is just hard, it's just properly dried in a proper manner, you just throw it, you wash it, you do anything, there is going to be no harm to it, only when you're choosing a good brand resin. Okay, so these are some points which you have to keep in mind. And now I want the answer from each one of you for this question, because I know you all have the answer for it. So now on, like, what all things have you seen which can be made out of resin? So I've got the answer here. Somebody says I've learned the tabletop. Okay, so the tabletop can be made out of resin. I want answer from each one of you. What all things that you have seen or have you made which can be made out of resin? Okay, jewelry, earrings, cake stand, posters. Okay, clock. Okay, coaster, trays, photo frame. Okay, clock, trays, cake stand. Okay, bookmarks, phone case, frames, coasters, frame. Okay, display jewelry, coasters. Okay, keychains, clock, frame. Okay, what is a page stopper? So what is the page stopper? Okay, I mean the bookmarks. You meant the bookmark, right? Okay, clock, phone cover, bowl. Okay, so we have multiple things where my chat box is just getting flooded by, it's just getting spammed, I would say, with all the messages. And these are a big yes, because you all know. Okay, babies, wow, that's great, Sonali. So you can really do that in resin. So you have even seen the pets, the tooth getting stored in resin. Multiple things that you can really make out of resin. So yes, a big yes to all these answers, because you just name a thing and you can make out of resin, isn't it? The resin has such wide I would say market, because even you know that you have seen endless number of things on the internet that you can make out of resin. Okay, so now you will say that how is it really possible that you can make anything out of resin? How is it really possible? Well, I have the answer for that as well. So let's say somebody will say me that blah 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 name mold is not available in the market. So how can I really make those things out of resin? So in that case, you also get the liquid silicon in market. Yes, you also get the liquid silicon in market, where you can customize and create your own mold. So again, you're creating your own molds, you're customizing things by your own. So there is no such thing called no in resin. So you just have to find your own niche, practice and experiment on everything. And once the things that you love, you can be just pro at it, because resin is a wide thing that you really have to explore it. And once you are just pro at it, you will be the unique one in the market. Resin is known for its abstract art form. Okay, resin is known for its uniqueness. Even if I try to copy my own artwork, which I have done just a day before, if somebody says please make the same for me, even it is not possible for me as well, because it is known for an abstract art form. You can't really control resin no matter what. Definitely you'll have some 1920 thing in it, but 100% same if you try to have the replica, that is not at all possible in resin. So imagine nobody would be able to copy you in the market, and you will stand unique in resin. Okay, in resin's market. And the resin market, the resin business is just amazing, because you have a huge variety of the products. Okay, see guys, these were some basic things which were really important. Okay, so we really don't want the things to be really covered in hurry. Okay, so now on what all surfaces that you can pour resin, you also need to have some knowledge about the surfaces, right? On what all bases that you can pour resin. Okay, okay, acrylic. Okay, I'm sorry, I just got a call. Okay, MDF. Okay, MDF. Anybody? Others? No answers. Okay, directly into the molds. Okay. On what all surfaces or what all bases that you can pour resin? I want the answers. I mean, at least you all can answer regarding that. Okay, silicon, glass. Okay. Anybody? Please guys, we have already begun up the class. You need to have some basic knowledge. As I said, this class has the practical and the theory part together. So if you don't understand the basics, imagine if you are doing randomly on any of the base and you have no knowledge, right? Let's say you have a plastic surface and you do on that. So do you think the plastic will be able to handle resin on it? No. So again, the knowledge here which I'm giving you all will be a waste thing, because you will be spoiling your artwork. So here the theory is very, very important. Please guys, this is not a normal chit chat that I'm doing. I'm trying to explain you all the things in a proper, easy manner. Okay. So why am I saying no for plastic? This is a plastic silicon ice cream sink that I have, which I had used in resin. Okay. But after drying, the resin gets demolded in this way. So imagine all your artwork, if you're doing any kind of on any kind of plastic surface, is all waste. It will get peeled off in this way. So this is a reusable ice cream stick which I use it. So once it is done, I can easily just remove it. So I can reuse these sticks. So this is a kind of a plastic which I'm using. Okay. This is a plastic. So you can reuse it. But imagine if I'm doing, so this is all the plastic. If I'm doing any kind of resin art on this plastic, it won't stay for a longer time. It will easily be removed after it is dried. So this is why important that you don't use the plastic as a base. You can use an MDF base. You can use the hardwood base. So now what is MDF? Somebody would really ask. All the kinds of wood are a big yes. But somebody will say, what is MDF now? So MDF is a kind of a softwood. Okay, this is an MDF base that I have. It is a kind of a softwood. So MDF is known as a softwood. Okay. So this is an MDF base. Why do artists really choose on these MDF base? So MDF is again very, very light in form as compared to the hardwood. The MDF is again, you have the clean edges as compared to the hardwood. Also MDF is cheaper as compared to the hardwood. Okay. So you have to understand that this is again the thickness here matters, because minimum 3 mm is required. Minimum 3 mm thickness, 3 to 4 mm is really necessary for this. If you go for a very thin flat base, the resin won't be really holded in a proper manner, or maybe due to the weather contractions you will have some kind of issue regarding the base and the materials. Okay, so this is why we'll make sure that we go for a proper base. Okay, and also what you need to do is you just where to find all these materials, you will say. So this is something you will even find it online, or even if you want to find it offline, just go at a shop who makes the frames. You will find it at a much more cheaper rate as compared to the stationery shops here, or even the carpenters if you have at your area. Just go and say them that I want these kinds of things. So they will have a lot of waste materials with them. So from the waste you can get the best out of it, and you can use it for your artworks. Okay, so just keep in mind any of the art, the ones who make the frames and all, you can find it from there. So we'll be using this for our artwork. So this is an MDF base. Okay, and on the MDF base you have to prime the surface. You just can't immediately pour resin here. Why? Again, because MDF has a lot of pores, tiny pores on it. Okay, if you don't seal it, you have the possibility that the resin won't really equally spread in a proper manner. Also due to the weather, as I said, the base has some kind of contractions and all. So this is why we want to avoid any kind of weather getting affected on our base. So this is why we use a base here. Okay, this is again a base of my base. This is a normal glass which I use as a strong support, base support which I call it. And how to really prime the surface now. So I'm using the acrylic color here, the normal acrylic color here. Okay, and we will be priming the base with the help of the acrylic color. Or you can also use gesso as a base primer. It's GESSO. Okay, any kind of material you can use to just prime it, but priming is important. This is a silicone brush that I'm using. You can also use any normal brush here. Okay. So I'm just normally using the color and nothing else. Can anybody tell me why am I not using water here along with this? Can anybody really just guess? Just any guess? Because of wood? No. It will get humid. This is, yes, this is a normal acrylic color that I have. Okay. So this is an acrylic color, and why am I using only the color and not the water? Yes, Rohini. Yes, resin will not stick on it because of water. So resin and water don't go together. They are a huge enemy. So you have to make sure that you avoid water when you instantly want to start your artwork. Okay. If you have time, let's say you have few hours time in between, then that is okay. Then you can definitely use water along with the acrylic color. But if you instantly want to pour resin, I will recommend you not to use water. If you have water, your resin won't dry at all. No matter how many hours or days you leave it to dry, it won't really get dry. Okay. So now this is an MDF base. So for MDF base, one coat is okay for this primer. But if you are using the hardwood, any kind of ply, for that minimum 2 layers of this acrylic color or gesso is important. If you are using a canvas as your base, canvas is highly porous. We all know that. So for canvas, what you need to do is minimum 3 layers. Minimum 3 layers of this type has to be done on your canvas base. You can use the glass as a surface. You can use the canvas as a surface. You can use the metal surfaces, the stone surfaces. Yes, the ceramic. For ceramic, you don't need to prime it. You can use the silicon molds. So there are multiple kinds of uses for the resin, but make sure that you don't select the plastic as a surface, okay, to pour resin. So now this is what I've applied, the acrylic color. So now if I turn it on the back side, can anybody tell me, should I do anything on the back side or should I just start to pour resin? Any suggestions? Should I do something on the back side or okay? Nancy says okay, no need. Okay, Mahima says yes. Nancy says yes. Okay. So why am I asking all these questions here? Is because you really need to understand here. I'll just show you something here. Can you all see this? So this is something that I made when I was a beginner. Okay, when I was a beginner, I would say. This looks pretty. This looks indeed so pretty. Okay. So this is something that I made when I was a beginner, I just said. So because I knew the multiple ways where I can really cover my backside, but I didn't do it. Why? Thank you. Thank you so much for the comments. Why didn't I really do anything on the backside? Is because I was super desperate. I would say I was so crazy to really start with the resin because I just thought if I'll just start to pour resin. If I go wrong anywhere, I'll be able to control resin. But here is where I really went wrong. This is what my mistakes look like. So these are the resin drips here. Okay, even after drying, I really can't get rid of them. It is not possible. After drying, you can't really get rid of them. So you really require something that after drying, the resin drips after drying, just imagine you can see all these drips here. So after drying, how to really get rid of these drips? How is it really possible? Because of beautiful artwork and having a bad backside is really something that nobody would really want to have. Okay. Or even if I paint it, it has these uneven kind of drips, like the thing which will be there. I can definitely paint it, but still the drips will be there on the backside no matter what. Okay. So what should we do to avoid the drips? Once you have poured resin, there is nothing that you can do. Okay, which this is my mistake. See, I can show my mistakes because I know I learned from my mistakes, and even each one of you who are watching here, even you will get a lot to learn from my mistakes. You would be like, okay, let's just begin with the artwork. We really don't want to wait. But yes, this is what I showed you, that was my mistake, and I was in super hurry. I knew I had to tape the backside, the edges, but I didn't do it because I thought I would be able to handle resin. Okay, so what we will be doing now, on the backside you can apply the abro tape, the cello tape, or the masking tape on the backside, so that once you have the drips on it, after the resin is dried, you can simply just peel off those kinds of tape. On the edges also you can apply it, it depends upon you. So these days generally there are different kinds of artists, they also leave the edges dry, or even if you want a clean edge, you can simply just apply the tapes on the edges as well. Okay, so here if you have applied the thin layer, I would say, if you just move your finger here, you will be able to see that if the color is not sticking on your fingers, which means that it is dried. Definitely not 100%, but up to some percent it is dry. So even if I want to turn it upside down, I can keep it upside down. Okay, so also there is one more option which I can use on the backside, which is known as the latex. Okay, latex, latex. So this is a kind of a rubber latex. Okay, so this looks white in color, and after drying it turns transparent in color. So I'm just taking some in the cap itself. Okay, I'm again using the same silicone brush. I've just cleaned it, or you can also use an earbud for this. Please don't use your brushes because you're going to spoil it anyway. So just get some on the silicone brush and then apply it. I'm applying only on the edges. Make sure that it is properly connected, interconnected. You leave no gap in between. How to clean the brush? Once it is dried, you can simply just peel off everything from it. You don't need to clean it as well. Okay, I'm leaving no gap. If you can see, it's properly connected to each other. Okay, this is latex, latex. Okay, so this looks white in color for now, but after drying it turns transparent in color. This works like a peel off mask, like that we applied on our faces. So once it is dried, you can simply peel it off. So once this is dried, once the resin drips are dried, you can simply peel off, and also the drips will get peeled off along with this. So I'm applying only on the edges. So because you don't really require to put it in the center, it's not necessary. latex. Please leave no gap in between. If you leave a gap, you have the possibility that you're inviting the resin drips to be staying there forever. This will again dry in few minutes. Okay, and if you have any extra, just put it back in the water. Please make sure that you close the lid tightly. If you don't close it tightly, all your latex will be dried. Like the remover bottles, if you don't close it, it evaporates. Here, this will get dried. Okay, this will dry in some time. Yes, it is silicone brush. Yes, the latex brands and everything, it will be shared to you as well. Okay. Sneha, can you try rejoining in, please? Everything will be sent to you. So here, everything will be sent to you on the BitClass application. I will repeat again for the ones who have just joined before some time. Okay, so the resin brands, the materials, the colors, everything will be shared to you on the BitClass application, the good brands and everything in detail. Okay, you just have to download the BitClass application, and under today's date group, you will be able to find the details. Once after this class, I'll be sending you there. Okay, And also I will be waiting. Also, there is one more thing. If I am sending you the details of all these things, I will be waiting for one thing. Okay, I will be waiting for the reviews on the campus feed. You have the campus option there. I will be waiting for your reviews, each one of your reviews, if you have genuinely enjoyed this classes. Okay, at least that really you can give up on the campus feed. Okay, so reviews I will be waiting after this class. Getting back here again, so we have this latex. Okay, I have applied it just as much as my base wants. So even if I'm turning upside down, the latex is not falling, which means that just apply it as much what your base requires. Don't apply it more, don't apply it less. So here also, if you can see, this has started to dry. Once after drying, it turns transparent. So even if you want to just turn it upside down, you can turn it upside down and let this dry. Okay, so now I will quickly start to prepare resin. But before I start to prepare resin, just a second. Before I start to prepare as resin, I have to just make sure that I wear the gloves. I won't be able to wear the mask, as I said, because if I wear a mask, you all won't be really able to understand. This is a reusable stick, which I use it, as I earlier even explained it to you. You can also use the wooden ice cream sticks. I make sure that I use on both the edges. Once this is used and dried, I also use it on the back side. This is the way you can really have a less wastage. Okay, so these are the reusable resin sticks which you can use it. Okay, so these are my sticks. I'll just keep it ready so that I can. And now I will wear the gloves. Okay. Please wear gloves. It's very important, so that you don't come in direct contact with the resin. See, everybody has different kinds of skin type, so you never know how does it really react with your skin. So we want to be on a safer side, so this is why we'll wear the gloves. I am not able to wear the mask for today's class. If I wear a mask, you all won't be able to understand the instructions. But if there's anybody who's doing along with me, please wear a mask. So to prepare the resin, yes, it is very sticky. You won't really get rid of it easily. Okay, so you will require a weighing scale. Please, if you're using a kitchen weighing scale, make sure that you cover it with a plastic or a tissue paper. Else, this is going to be the condition, because I'm constantly using it only for the resin. Okay, so now I will be using a plastic glass today. You can also use a thermocol glass. Okay, and now apart from it, if you have, somebody will say, if I don't have a weighing scale? So weighing scale is much more necessary. But if you don't have it, you can definitely use those glasses, the ml or the gram glasses, which have the proper indications on them. So make sure that you use them, because here the resin ratios, the grams play an important role. If you go wrong here and there, trust me, the first step, if you go wrong, all the next steps will be wrong, even if you do it in a proper manner. Okay, so please keep it in mind. So now the resin ratios, as I said, there are multiple types of resin. So also with the multiple kinds of resin comes the different kinds of resin ratios. The next thing which you really need to understand. Okay, so the resin ratio which I will be using for today's class is 2:1. But you get the resin ratios in the market which are 1:1, 2:1, 3:1, 5:3, and ample number of the resin ratios. Depending upon the brands, they have the multiple resin ratios. Okay, so you can use any kind of resin ratios. That is completely your choice. I really don't mind on that. Okay, so I'm teaching you the basic thing. Okay, this is a beginner friendly class, so I'll be teaching you very basic thing, which is how to measure the resin ratio. It is very important. The resin ratios play an important role in resin. Okay, so I'll be using the 2:1 resin ratio today. So how to measure 2:1 resin ratio now? My brand bottle says you have to use 2 parts of the resin and 1 part of the hardener, which they come together all along. I'm not purchasing it different or a single bottle. Okay, so now this says you have to use the resin and the hardener together. The resin bigger bottle has to be used in two parts and 1 part for the hardener. So now what are these parts? How to really calculate it in parts? Forget about the parts. They just say 2:1. Okay, please keep it in mind. This is not something that I'm making by my own. The resin ratio is already described or mentioned on the bottle. You will say that आज मुझे इच्छा हुई 3:1 बनाने की. Let's just make that. कल इच्छा हुई 5:3. Please don't do that. It is compulsory that you have to follow whatever that your bottle says. Please use only whatever resin ratio is mentioned here blindly. Okay. So I have a bottle which says 2:1 resin ratio. So I'll take 2 parts of the resin, 1 part of the hardener. Simply multiply it by 10. You have whatever resin ratio that you have, just multiply it by 10. So it will be 20 and 10. So 20 grams of the resin, 10 grams of the hardener. If you have 1:1, it will be 10 and 10. Okay. If you're using 3:1, you will have 30 and 10. Just keep it that, multiply it by 10. That's it. The basic rule that I'm trying to explain you all. Please just try to understand the basics first. Once you turn on your weighing scale, there is again an important, very tiny thing, but an important step. Your zero has two, it has the 2 pointed arrow thing. So it also has the O's and it also has the grams. So here we are measuring it in grams. So please keep in mind that your zero has to be pointed towards the gram. If it is pointed towards the OZ, again, you have the possibility of calculating and even taking the wrong resin ratios. Okay, please, I have literally had multiple kinds of students making multiple kinds of mistakes where these are all that I'm really sharing out to you all. Please keep it in mind. Now I'll take 20 grams of the resin, pouring it very, very slowly. I really don't want any of the steps to be taken in hurry at all. Okay, I want it to be done very, very slowly so that I have no mistake in calculating or mixing the resin. You have to be patient while pouring resin. There should be no resin calculation mistake. I repeat. If 1 or 2 grams here and there, that is okay. You don't need to worry. But if there is more mistake, you have to be really careful. You have to really clear that mistake and then proceed. This is exact 20. Okay. The next is I will have 10 grams of the hardener. And this is exact 10. So now, after calculating the resin properly, okay, this looks pretty transparent to you if you can just see here on the screen. So next comes the step where you have to mix it thoroughly. Mix it thoroughly to make one solution, because there is a two mixture which is added here. They look transparent. They are not mixed properly. You have to mix the resin and the hardener properly. If you don't do this step, again, you have the possibility that your resin and the hardener will be sticky, it won't dry properly, and multiple ways where you can go wrong. So once you start to mix, this turns into milky color. If you can just see the before and after which I showed you, earlier it was transparent and now it has turned into milky color because I have started to mix the resin and the hardener. So you have to slowly mix it, scrape through the edges so that if there is any drop of the resin or the hardener left unmixed, it gets mixed properly. Okay. Okay, so I'm mixing it properly, thoroughly. So mix it for minimum 2 to 3 minutes. 2 to 3 minutes is very, very important. You can't skip this step doing it in very hurry. That won't be really possible. You have to mix it thoroughly, slowly. Scrape through the edges, through the bottom. Okay. I have taken 20 and 10 grams. 20 grams of resin, 10 grams of the hardener. Scrape through the edges. I will mix it very, very slowly and properly so that there is no mistake. Paper glass. Yes, you mean the thermocol ones? Yes, you can use it. Sujala, wait. Don't be in hurry. I will guide you with all the things. The materials and all, again, the same question. I've repeated the answer for a long time, that I will be sending you all the list on the BitClass community chat. But I also want the reviews, only then I will be sending you all the list. At least I can really expect from you all that. Ria, can you just help Sneha? There is some issue. Sneha, you just try rejoining from somebody else's device. Okay. So now, after 2 to 3 minutes, how to know whether it is mixed or not? So once you have started to mix, it turns into milky color, as I already mentioned earlier. Okay. But after it is mixed properly, slowly it will turn into transparent thing. Okay. It will again get back to its transparent color state. Also, there is one more thing. So, like, how to know whether it is properly mixed or not. So when you add oil inside water, you know that when you try to mix, you get the tail behind it. So the same way, you have to just make sure that once you stop getting the tail behind it, which means that your resin and the hardener is mixed properly. Okay. So now I'm just uh, mixing this resin, adding this resin in the small cup, in the 2 cups, because I will be making 2 colors. Okay. So I'll keep this weighing scale aside now. And these are the 2 glasses for the 2 colors. Sorry. So now I'll just start to take the color. Just a second. Okay. So now I will take the blue color first. This is a blue color. Thank you, Divya. I will be waiting. Yes, thank you so much on the BitClass community chat on the campus feed. So this is an opaque color that I will be using. Okay, this looks so pretty color. These are the resin colors that I'm using. Okay, and no other type of the color. Okay, just a second. I'm sorry. So this is the opaque color which I will be using. Okay, and these are the resin colors and no other color that I'm using. So now the quantity of the resin colors is what I will be showing you. This is an opaque pigment form, opaque pigment we call it, opaque paste colors. So you can see the consistency is so thick. So I'll just take some. Can you see the quantity of the color? It is just this much quantity that I will be taking for the colors and not more. Okay. So imagine how pretty and how long you can use these colors. Okay, so the next is again the white color. This is again is in the opaque form. Can anybody just say, or anybody, I don't know if you have noticed or not, I am not using the resin stick to get the colors. Can anybody really say me why am I not doing it? Okay, can anybody really tell me? No, it is not acrylic. It is only and only resin color that I'm using. This is the white color that I'm taking. Just look at the quantity that I'm taking. It's very, very less. Okay. The resin stick, I didn't use to take the colors. I used it a separate one, because if you use the same resin stick, I have literally wasted my colors that way. And this is why I really want you guys to even be alert. Don't use a resin ice cream stick, because if you use it again, your colors will get hardened up in the bottle itself if you're using the resin stick. Okay. So now I'll start to mix the colors. So these are the opaque ones, which are thick paste in the manner. You just saw I've started to mix the colors and I've got this beautiful shade. Also, if you can just see here, there is still some color, a lot of color which is yet to be mixed. Right? So imagine the colors, the shade, the consistency, and everything which you will be getting if you use the resin colors. If you use the acrylic colors, the desired shade, I really doubt that you will be getting or not. Okay. Also, You can use the powder pigments. The powder pigments of any brand is okay. You can use any powder pigments. You can also use your eyeshadow palette. You know, if you are running out of expiry date, you can also use them in resin. The third type of the color which you can use it are the alcohol ink colors. The alcohol ink artists use it. You can use them as well in resin. So these are, no, this is what I'm saying. You can't use any colors. You can't use glass color. You can't use food colors. You can't use acrylic colors. You can only use the colors which are meant for the resin. So this is the blue color, beautiful blue color. So the next is the white color. I have just started to mix the white color. Okay. So this is the white color. The opaque color requires to be mixed properly because it is in the paste form. If the powder pigment you are using that, it will be mixed quickly because it is in the powder form. Okay. My brand name for the color is of Madras Bazaar. Okay. This is a pretty one because I'm using it since 2 years. This is what I'm using and still it's being constantly used. This is a 50-gram bottle. Sorry, 75 gram, I think so. Okay. So now I'll just get my base and I'll start to pour resin now. This is what my base looks like, and the back side, if you all just remember, I'd applied latex. So which is almost dried here, just the white portion still yet to be dried. Okay, so I'll just turn it upside down and I will start to pour resin now. Start from the corners first, always. Start from the corners always. Never start from the center. Start from the corners and then move towards the center. Always the resin will gush towards the center. Please keep it in mind so that even till the end, you have to have an eye on the corners. Okay. Use an ice cream stick, take some and then spread it. Okay. Just get some and then spread it. The blue looks pretty, isn't it? Keep an eye on the corners every time. What kind of glitter colors? Can you please elaborate? The powder ones? I'm slowly spreading it, keeping an eye on the corners again. Okay. So now I'll take the next color, which is the white color. And now with the help of white color, I will make some uneven lines here. I'll just take some. And spread it. Make uneven lines. No straight lines really work well on resin. Never ever try to control resin. And that's okay. So now I'll be taking a straw. Okay. I'll be taking a straw and I will just mix up the color. Okay. If you feel like the white has really got a bit light, in that manner, you can again just add a thin line of the white towards the base, and but don't make any new lines here. Just go as per whatever the natural pattern has been created. Please don't make any new lines, I repeat. So here I've got the beautiful shade transition of the white and blue. So who all really wants to have a closer look at it? Oops. Who all really wants to have a closer look to it? Okay, if I get yes, then I'm going to give you all a closer look. Okay. Okay, so I've got yes from many of you all. So here we yes. So here we go. Yes, yes. Can you all see it now? How is it? It's pretty. Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you. Yes, yes, I will take up the questions. But here there is one more thing which I really want to show. If you can see here, there are so many bubbles here. Somebody just asked me earlier that there are bubbles here. If you can see here, there are so many tiny bubbles which are just spoiling the shine. Or even if the light which is being reflected, you can see that the light is being just disturbed here, where there are so many tiny bubbles on my artwork. So how to get rid of them? So I have a blowtorch. Okay, so I'll be just using it to pop up the bubbles. If you can just make out the light reflection here is just getting better. Just look at the waves. Wow, I'm falling in love with the waves now. Isn't it, Ria? The waves are looking
Amazing, ma'am.
so, yes. Well, I haven't really got these waves since a long time. On a cute artwork with the help of a straw. Yes, Aili, I'll be explaining you that, how to really write on it. Yes, yes. Thank you. That was a blowtorch which I used. Yes, I will explain you all in detail. Don't worry, guys. So, Ria, can you ask them how was it?
So everyone, how was it? Quickly, some reaction dal do. Reaction dal do. Love reaction dal do. Everyone, I want a reaction from everyone. Love reaction. Wow, great. So many reaction I got. Ma'am, you can see they loved it.
Yes, because they will be sharing the reaction here and the reviews on the campus feed on the BitClass application, right?
Absolutely. Emil says
Okay.
love it.
So
Okay, thank you
yes,
so much, guys.
thank you so much. Yes, the also the questions I will be taking in just 2 minutes till I just clean up and wind up the things. So 2 minutes I'll be giving to Ria so that she can really reveal the surprise, and also I have some amazing surprise to be shared from my end as well. Ria?
Ma'am, can we just show some of the art from your students and some of the art from your pictures of those.
Yeah, if they love it, if they really want to see it, I don't mind at all.
We can show them few so that they can have an idea